The Marz Talk Show. Late Night Chaos. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Marz Talk Show. It is currently about 1:03 a.m. on July 4th, 2013. Happy July 4th to everyone. Happy Independence Day. Or at least what's left of our independence, at least. Anyway. So tonight we're going to be going over some pretty general stuff. I just happened to pull up a few articles for us to look over when I discuss those. I do apologize if any of you were looking forward to having a special guest on tonight. It's just going to be me tonight, though. So if you don't want to listen to me, go ahead and tune out. But if you do want to listen to me, keep listening, because we're going to have a long, nice chat. Alrighty, so first article I'm pulling up here, this is one that just kind of struck me as, we seriously have an issue with this. I think you folks are going to enjoy this. So I found this article where and you can find this article anywhere, folks. I happen to find it on Huffington. It's called HuffingtonPost.com, where it says a woman drinks only soda for 16 years, suffers heart problems. Let's see here. The article states a 31-year-old woman's heart problems and fainting might have something to do with the fact that she drank only soda for about half her life, according to a report of her case. The woman, who lives in Monaco, which is a small country near southern France, was brought to a hospital after she fainted. A blood test showed she had severely low potassium levels, and a test of her heart's electrical activity revealed she had a condition called long QT syndrome, which can cause erratic heartbeats. Backing up a little bit here, folks. If some of you don't know what long QT syndrome is, long QT syndrome is considered a rare inherited heart condition in which delayed repolarization of the heart following a heartbeat increases the risk of episodes of what's called cirrhosis de pointis, or DTP, and that's a form of irregular heartbeat that originates from the ventricles. These episodes may lead to fainting and or sudden death due to ventricular fibrillation. Now, these episodes may be provoked by various stimuli depending on the subtype of the condition. Alright, continuing on the article now. Let's see here. It states that the woman did not have a family history of heart or hormone problems, but she told her doctors that since the age of 15, she had not drunk any water. Soda, specifically cola, was the only liquid she had consumed. She drank about 2 liters, which is the equivalent of 2 quarts, of cola daily, she said. After abstaining from soda for just 1 week, the woman's potassium levels and heart electricity activity returned to normal. Notes continues to state that drinking too much cola may cause excessive water to enter the bowels, which in turn leads to diarrhea and loss of potassium. The researchers said high amounts of caffeine can also increase urine production and decrease potassium reabsorption. The researchers said potassium plays a role in helping a person's heartbeat, and low levels of potassium may cause heart rhythm problems. After searching for similar cases, the researchers found 6 reports of excessive cola consumption that were thought to be related to adverse medical problems, including heart rhythm problems. Alright, folks, this, like I said, this one I found was funny because this is kind of a no-brainer. When you really think about it, too much consumption of, particularly soda, which carries a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine, you would think people would understand that's going to not be good for you. But, hey, apparently, according to this woman, this was all she would ever drink. Let's read a little more into this and see what else it says. We got a quote here from one of the researchers, Dr. Nima Zurkan of the Princess Grace Hospital Central in Monaco. Dr. Nima said, one of the take-home messages is that cardiologists need to be aware of the connection between cola consumption and potassium loss and should ask patients found to have QT prolongation about beverage habits. Okay, so we're finding that that's like basically saying that apparently a lot of these QT conditions are going to be stemming from our beverage habits. Alright, continue on. It says, future studies should examine whether those who drink cola excessively have lower potassium levels than people who don't drink cola, the researcher said. Excessive soda consumption can also lead to weight gain. Really? Which is a risk factor for heart disease, the researcher said. The case report was presented this week at the European Heart Rhythm Association meeting in Athens, Greece. It has not been published in peer-reviewed journal. Okay, I'm sorry, folks. The last part just makes me laugh because I'm just like, really? Overconsumption of soda is going to make weight gain problems. Really? I would never have guessed that. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, folks. That to me is just ridiculous that we have to actually go in and do a massive research. I mean, this is common sense. This is a no-brainer. Yeah, it's just so ridiculous that we'd have this kind of thing come up. I don't know about you folks, but it's like, okay, it's been found, if you excessively drink any large amounts of caffeine, there's going to be problems. So it does not make any sense to me why we have to turn this into a huge research project. We already know this stuff is bad if you drink excessively in it. So the fact we have to turn it into this huge research project is just ridiculous. But apparently, there's just people out there who don't get it. We live in a society where we believe excess of everything is a good thing, and it's just not. Everything should be taken in moderation. And just a curiosity question, for those of you who do listen, I want to know, it's like, what's your thoughts on that? Do you believe everything should be done in moderation, or should everything be done in excess order? And let me know your reasons behind that, why. I'm curious to know what's the thought process on that. Let's move on here. Let's see what else we got on our list tonight. We have, forgive me, I have this all logged into my computer, and my computer's just being horribly slow with me. Okay, here we go. I don't know how many of you have heard about this, but there were 3 Texas siblings at West Point not that long ago. And so to say, these brothers have actually accomplished something very, very something actually very something that doesn't happen actually a whole lot, and so this is actually pretty cool. Let's see here, the article states that the 3 brothers here, which are Noah, Sumner, and Cole. And these are 3 Texas brothers who began their cadet training together at West Point this week. For one of the few times, it says here in the article here, for one of the few times in its long history, the U.S. Military Academy accepted 3 siblings into the same class. Twins Sumner and Cole, who just turned 18, and their 19-year-old brother Noah of Nederland in southwest Texas, have each signed on 4 years of academics and military training. If all 3 make it through the RIS program, they will simultaneously toss their caps in the air as newly commissioned second lieutenants in the Army of 2017. This, folks, is pretty cool. I mean, these are three brothers who actually have been accepted into the same class here out there at West Point. That doesn't happen very often. It's really not common for siblings to attend a service academy at the same time. But to make it 3, that's even rarer. Let's see here. The article states that West Point is aware of two previous cases, the most recent in 1981, when twins Rose and Ann Forrester were admitted into the same class as their older brother John. Rose Forrester Burwell, out of the military and living in Williamsburg, Virginia, recalled that the three siblings would make a point of meeting for brunch about once a month at the academy. This is just pretty cool, folks. I mean, it literally it's three brothers in arms, it's a band of brothers. I think that's pretty cool, honestly. I just want to say, best of luck to those three. Noah, Sumner, and Cole. If you ever end up hearing this, I wish you the very best of luck, and I hope I hope you all make it together and stick it through to the very end, because that is just amazing. All right, well, let's move on here. Let's see what else we can find. Let's see what else we have on file here for us today. Looks like we also have an article here that states the Egyptian army ousts Morsi, new leader to be sworn in. Oh wow, this is big now. It says here the military overthrew the country's first democratically elected president after only a year in office, shunting the Islamist leader aside in the same kind of Arab Spring uprising that brought him to power. Wow. See, the military has also suspended the Islamist drafted constitution and is calling for new elections to be announced. And this, they're going to be installing a temporary civilian government. Wow. Also says here, millions of anti-Morris protesters around the country erupted in celebration after the televised announcement by the army chief on Wednesday evening. Fireworks burst over the crowds in Cairo's Tahrir Square, where men and women danced, shouting, "God is great" and "Long live Egypt." Wow. It says here, fearing a violent reaction by Morsi's Islamist supporters, troops in armored vehicles deployed in the streets of Cairo and elsewhere surrounding the Islamist rallies. Clashes erupted in several prone cities when Islamists opened fire on police, with at least 9 people killed, security officials said. My goodness. That's some pretty big news, folks. It's been no secret that there have been many people in Egypt who were not very supportive of the president they had, President Morsi. A lot of people did not like him having him in office. But so yeah, looks like he's out for good at that point. It'll be interesting to see how the elections turn over there. And things are already pretty chaotic out that way. It's hard to say what's going to end up turning up next. And here's a fun article. This will be good. This article is about the origins of the minions from Despicable Me. I'm kind of curious to see what this is. How did they come up with that? Let's take a look here. See, it says here that, according to the Los Angeles Times, it's Coffin and Renewed wanted to. At first, they don't know who Coffin and Renewed are. They're the ones who give the they're the ones who do the voices for the minions. Anyway, it says, according to the Los Angeles Times, Coffin and renewed wanted to beef up Gru's henchmen to help draw out their comedy inherent in the mastermind's unlikely plan to steal the moon. So the directors looked for inspiration from one of the silver screen's most notable toadies, particularly the Oompa Loompas from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Jollish from Star Wars Episode 4. That's pretty cool. And it says, while Coffin and Rudin may have had more vertically challenged henchmen in mind upon initial brainstorming, Carroll now looks at the minions as something else entirely. He stated, people love them. They're never not fun. They are all, they are all as close to a modern-day version of the Marx Brothers as I've seen. Carroll recently told Yahoo Movies during the film's press junket. I'd have to agree with him on that. They really are. And that's pretty funny. So yeah, I mean that's kind of interesting that they would turn to Jawas and Oompa Loompas for coming up with such interesting characters. For those of you who haven't seen Despicable Me, I recommend you go see it. It's a very it's a lighthearted kids movie. It's got a good message and everything. And the Minions are quite funny. If you're looking just for something to laugh at, just because it's so ridiculous, they are definitely a good choice. Here's a good one. This is an article that states degrees that don't offer a clear career path. That's always a big one. People, especially younger people, and there's some older people out there too. Just they're trying to figure out where they're going with their career path. And so let's take a look at what they list here. See, it looks like it does a breakdown of which ones provide a clear path and which ones provide an unclear path. Let's look at the unclear ones. See, first one they lift off here for majors with an unclear career path is the fine arts. Looks like it has an unemployment rate of 10.1%. Wow. It says here that this article states the role of a starving artist might seem romantic to many, but trust us, it gets old after your up-10th bowl of ramen noodles. The point is talent and passion alone does not always make a career, even with a degree backing you. That's very true. Being an artist is tough. It's not easy. If you got the drive for it, and if it makes you happy, I say go for it. Doesn't matter what anyone says. You like it, do it. See, the next one it says here that for an unclear path is information systems with an unemployment rate of 14.7%. States, in our computer and information crazed world, you would think any major with either one of those words right in the title would be a direct link to a career, right? Wrong, says the Hard Times report. Wow. And it says the path is hazy because according to Hard Times report, unlike computer science majors, unemployment for information system majors is high, as higher trends to be slower for users of information compared to those who write programs and create software applications. Yeah, there definitely is a big difference in that. Excuse me, I'm having a little troubles with my voice tonight. Writing programs, creating software applications, moves a lot faster than that. Excuse me. Alright. Third on the list of unclear paths is philosophy. Unemployment rate of 9.5%. Let's see here, and it says it is an unclear path due to, and see, Carneville says it's not surprising that this degree has a relatively high unemployment rate since it's not specific. So the more general it sounds, the more you need a story you can tell on how you're going to turn it into a job, he says. In other words, many employers will be hard-pressed to see marketable skills in this degree, no matter how strong your rhetoric may be. That's there's a lot of truth to that, folks. Sometimes getting a general degree can be a good thing. My recommendation in that, folks, would be find something that's very specific as your major, and then select something general as like your minor. Because then it's just something you can fall back on, where it's just a way of getting a quick job. If things go bad, things don't go well, like getting your major right off the bat, at least you got that little cushion just to get yourself a quick job. It's a good way of handling it. See, number 4 on the list of unclear paths is archaeology, with an unemployment rate of 12.6%. Wow, that is pretty big. It says here that archaeology is one of those degrees that usually requires a graduate degree to be useful. It says these students often leave the humanities and liberal arts for their graduate work and study something much more occupational like law. That's interesting. Archaeologists turning away from that to go study law. I never would have imagined that. And number 5 on the list here for unclear paths is history, with an unemployment rate of 10.2%. And it says the reason behind this is, along with political science, is another degree that pursuers often use as a stepping stone to another, higher and more career-oriented degree like law. As American history has always done pretty well because there are history teachers in every grade school in America. For public school teaching, however, the U.S. Department of Labor notes that you'll need a teaching credential. Well, that goes without saying. If you're going to be a teacher, of course you're going to need a teaching credential. As this article stated, it stated that, those who study history, go something specific for your major, and then do something general for your minor. It's just always good to have that as a cushion. Now let's take a look at the list that they said that they state have a clear path. I'm kind of curious to see what they believe to have more clear range. See, number 1 here is nursing, with an unemployment rate of 4.8%. And it says that it's a clear path because there are a few degrees that have a stronger link from major specific career than nursing to nurse. That part's obvious. What isn't obvious unless you study the numbers is that only in this career path, but the path is also laden with job opportunities according to another Georgetown report from 2012 titled Healthcare, which studied the trends in education and jobs in healthcare. Okay, folks, I'm gonna have to stop here for a moment. Going into health as a career is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That's what you're really passionate about and you feel strongly with, go for it. But there's something you need to keep in mind. When you get a lot of people gunning for one specific kind of work, they're going to start turning people away. Because the position's going to get filled, and there's going to be no more room to take anyone in. Which is actually what's currently happening. I don't think people realize that. There's been a lot of people entering the health field, such as nursing, doctorship, and they're not finding jobs. They're not. And especially because that report that they're taking from to say this is good is back from 2012. Well, I'm sorry, it's been a year later. Things have changed. It's no longer a good way to... it's no longer as booming as we would have liked it. Anyway, moving on. Next one they have listed here is elementary education, with an unemployment rate of 5%. And it says this is a good path to choose, because according to the Hard Times report, elementary education has one of the lowest unemployment rates among recent grades. And although you might hear about government cutting education funding, the fact is, says Carnival, that because retirement rates for teachers are so high and will be for some time, jobs should be plentiful. This is another one where I have to disagree. You take a good look at the education system, there's actually a lot of teachers leaving. Because benefits are just not what they used to be. It's just plain simple, folks. It's not something, it's not something as good as you can get. Actually, on On the last show we had here, we touched bases a little bit on retirement, because we were talking about Obamacare and some of the things you don't realize in healthcare. And I believe it stated that there were those who would not be reaching the retirement at the nice age of 65. They had to keep working in order to keep going, and that's just the truth of it as it is today. There are many what we'd say to be senior citizens out there who still have to work a part-time job, if not a full-time job, just to keep going, because the retirement benefits are just not there anymore. You can't survive off of it. All right, well, let's keep moving on here. Looks like the third one they got listed here is accounting, with an unemployment rate of 8.8%. Says when you get a degree in accounting, you get practical marketing skills. A major consultant and writer of About.com's Guide to Human Resources says you get the 6 skills in accounting that employers in a wide range of industries are looking for. I'll go with this one. Accounting is a good one to go into. A lot of people can use that kind of thing. Accounting, deals with information systems, business, law, auditing, and tax accounting. Those are typical classes for accounting majors. So that's definitely a good route to take. That can get you, ready to pursue a career as an accountant or an auditor. As an accountant or an auditor, specifically, like the U.S. Department of Labor. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go down that route, you're gonna be requiring at least a bachelor's degree in accounting or a related field for that. Let's keep that in mind as well. Yeah, accounting's definitely a good one, if you're looking for something like that. All right, folks, we're hitting our break time here. We're hitting our break time here, so folks, please do still. I can't talk anymore. Anyway, folks, please do still stay tuned in here. We will have more to discuss afterwards, after we have a short break. So please stay here on the line with us, and we will be back shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Now we're back to the Marz Talk Show here. It is currently about 1:33 a.m. at this point. Alright, so we've been about a half hour in today. That's good. Let's see here. Not picking up where we left off. Continuing on, if you are just joining us right now, we are actually just going over some random articles and just doing little discussions on that and whatnot. So let's keep going with that. We actually have an article here, which is kind of interesting. It's a bit random, but kind of cool still. Let's see here. It is a woman builds Lego leg prosthetic. Let's see here. The lady here who did this is Christina Stevens. Looks like last year her foot was amputated after it was crushed under a car she was rebuilding. And apparently just recently she was able to fashion a prosthetic leg out of some old Lego blocks she had lying around under her basement. Wow. Stevens is an occupational therapist and clinical researcher, and she said she decided to build the toy leg after a coworker jokingly proposed the idea. While others would have laughed off the suggestion, Stevens said, "Challenge accepted." Stevens said, "I like the idea because I am very comfortable with my body and like encouraging others to be more comfortable with theirs." Wow, that's actually pretty cool. If any of you are actually interested in checking this out, Stevens has made a video to show how she worked over 2 days to create this Lego limb out of all these colorful toy bricks to fit her leg, and it took her about it takes about 2 hours. It took her about 2 hours to set it up. And it looks like you can find this on YouTube. just look up, Lego, prosthetic Lego leg. Looks like the video is currently already received nearly 300,000 views on YouTube. That's pretty incredible. Stevens did state though that the leg is comfortable though not completely practical. Its range of motion is limited, and the ankle and foot tend to pop off. I could definitely see that happen. It also says here apparently Stevens is planning a Lego Leg 2.0, which will include a functioning ankle and foot. She's also got several more artistic legs in the works, including one that incorporates fiber optic lights flashing behind a clear shin-shaped casing. Wow. Steven says, I like having these extra spaces below my stump that other people don't have that I can explore. It makes me feel superhuman. You know what, Stevens? I say that's good for you. That you were comfortable with doing that, and you have actually taken something that no doubt was very traumatizing and made it into something very unique and truly yours. And that's awesome. Way to go, Christina. If you ever do catch wind of this, I applaud you. That's awesome. Next article we have here, folks, is it's an article titled "Sun Unleashes Solar Fireworks Preview for July 4th." Okay, folks, this is actually pretty cool. If you're into solar flares and what's happening out there in space and everything, this is gonna be pretty cool. It says here, the sun fired off an intense solar flare Wednesday, July 3rd, giving NASA scientists a solar preview to the 4th of July holiday in the United States. The solar flare erupted at about 3 a.m. And was spotted by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, which snapped a photo of the July solar storm. Apparently, it unleashed a M1.5 class solar flare, and it says perhaps, and they're saying perhaps on early 4th of July. This is perhaps an early 4th of July firework. For those who don't know, M-class solar flares are a medium-strength solar storms that can supercharge Earth's northern lights display when they are aimed at the Earth. NASA officials have reported that the July 3rd solar flare erupted from a point just over the eastern side, or limb, of the sun, so it's not directed at our planet. It says, for those also who want a little more information on that, the most powerful type of solar flares that we have listed are X-class sunstorms. When the X-class sunstorms, when those get aimed directly at Earth, they can pose a threat to astronauts in space and interfere with satellite signals and potentially affect electrical power grids on Earth. Those things are massive. They got a lot of power to them. But anyway, going back, on Wednesday, July 3rd, this flare followed close on the heels of a dazzling sun eruption that was back on Monday, July 1st, which sent a trendle of superhot solar plasma dancing over the surface of the star. And the SOD spacecraft actually captured video of that. So it says scientists are saying the sun is currently in the middle of an active phase of its 11-year solar weather cycle. The current weather cycle, known as Solar Cycle 24, is expected to reach its peak this year. NASA's SDO spacecraft is one of several spacecraft monitoring the sun to track solar flares, plasma eruptions, and other space weather phenomena. That's amazing. It's absolutely spectacular. I recommend any of you who are interested in this, please look this up. It is just amazing to see this. I mean, honestly. It's absolutely beautiful. We live in such an amazing place, such an amazing universe. So many beautiful things happening around us. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, sorry folks, I'm getting mesmerized because I'm looking over some of the photos here. Definitely look that up. Definitely. That is amazing. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna move on to something a little more sobering, and very sad. I'm sure some of you have probably heard about this. Not that long ago, in fact, about 2 days ago, and there's been a wildfire out in the state of Arizona, out in the state of Arizona in the U.S. And 2 days ago, 19 firefighters were killed in that wildfire. The 19 firefighters. They were an elite team. They died on Sunday, July 30th. June 30th. My apologies. While trying to protect themselves under fire restraint shields from a fast-moving wildfire in Yarnell, Arizona. Authorities believe the wildfire began in Yarnell, about 90 miles northwest of Phoenix, Friday, which would have been June 28th, with a lightning strike, and it spread to at least 2,000 acres. Sunday, amid triple-digit temperatures, low humidity, and windy conditions. As of 3 a.m. on Sunday, June 30th, that morning, the Yarnell fire had tripled in size and was now 6,000 acres, according to the Arizona Incident Commander, Mike Richling. 18 of the victims were from Prescott Garnet Mountain hotshots, fire officials said. It's unclear where the other victim was based. This one really hits home for me. Arizona is my home state. So, you know, that's just it's really heartbreaking to hear that. And I don't know about you folks, but I think firefighters are one of the few last remaining heroes that we really have. And my heart, my heart just goes out to the families and the families who have had this loss. It says here this elite team with that had these 19 firefighters was known as Hotshot Crew. Was known as a Hotshot Crew, and was deployed to attack the fire line with tools. Hotshot crews are. Just give a little clarification between the term hotshot. Hotshot crews are elite firefighters who often hike for miles in the wilderness with chainsaws and backpacks filled with heavy gear to build lines of protection between people and fires. They'll remove brush and trees and anything that might burn in the direction of the homes and cities. You got to realize, people, these guys, they're not the ones who have engine companies and large trucks. These guys are definitely like the core of firefighting. They're right in the middle of it all. Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, it's very sad news to be hearing that. They're, firefighters. They're, extremely brave men. They're brave men and women, all of them. And sad. My heart just goes out to those victims. The victims' families, friends, all of them. That's tough. There's no real words you can give, for that kind of loss. Okay. Well, let's move. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's take a look into something else here. Man, I don't even know how to follow up with that. How do you? Man. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just taking kind of a brief moment of silence for those guys. Not easy to go through that. No, I'm sorry. Okay, let's just move on here. Okay. This is gonna be the last article we're gonna cover for tonight. This article here is entitled 10 words and terms that ruin a resume. If anyone out there is trying to find themselves a job and struggling with setting up their resume, or maybe you just need to dust off your resume and do it up a little bit, this might be useful for you. All right, so it says the first one here is salary negotiable. The article says, I'm not even gonna bother saying what those articles says because I'm already thinking it. Okay, yeah, folks, this is a really bad one to throw on there. Your employer or the employer that you're looking to work with, they already know. That's a waste to throw in there. It's gonna look like padding. It's like you've run out of things to talk about. Yeah, don't ever put that, because they already know. And in most cases, salary's pretty fixed nowadays anyway. So don't even bother with that. Waste of time. Second one that they put on here is references available by request. Yeah, don't ever do that. If they ask for references, give them. Even if they don't ask, just give references. It's always good to do that. It's a great way for them to actually hear more about you. It's a good thing. Don't ever do that. Just give them the references. Let's see, the next one they have here, and this is a new one for me. I've never seen this before. It says responsible for blank. According to the article, it says, reading this term, the recruiter can almost picture the C-average uninspired employee mechanically fulfilling his job requirements. No more, no less. Having been responsible for something isn't something you did. It's something that happened to you. Turn phrases like responsible for into man. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I get what they're saying now. Yeah, you don't want to ever the term responsible just means you have to do it, you don't have a choice in it. This wasn't something that you did on your own. You just had to do it. So yeah, you definitely would want to turn those into something like phrases as into managed or led. Or other strong verbs, showing that you actually took the action. It just wasn't because you had to do it. You stood up and decided to do it. You stood up and just did it. You want to make that strong. I mean, you want to make it sound more like an achievement. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Trying to think about that. Okay, moving on. Next one they have here is experience working in blank. Okay, that's a very similar one they were just talking about. It's it sounds very something that happens to you, not something you've achieved. So try to describe your background more in the terms of achievement. That's what you want to do. Next one they have listed here is problem solving skills. Yeah, that's kind of a poor choice, because every living creature has a level of problem solving skills. I wouldn't ever list that. If you want to list something that's like that, be a little more specific on it. You definitely want to be a little more specific on that, because animals like monkeys, dogs, cats, they all have problem solving skills. They know how to get around stuff. Try to be specific with those skills. What skills do you specifically have? So you be a little more descriptive in that manner. So the next one they have listed here is detail oriented. What does that mean? You're basically just telling the recruiter that you pay attention to details. Well, yeah, you should be. If you're gonna be working, you better pay attention to details. I would definitely think of something a little more unique to tell them. Again, being a little more descriptive. Next one they put here is hardworking. This is going to be more of a case where you you can tell anyone, and anyone call themselves a hard worker. It's a lot more convincing if you can describe situations. Try to give them a good example of you being a hard worker, where it was where it worked as a benefit for the employer that you were working with at the time. Just saying you're a hard worker, it's like, okay, that's great. How do I know you're a hard worker? Give me an example. Back it up a little bit. Need evidence. Kind of show me the money, Show me the hard work. I want to know how you do it. Let's see. Next on the list here is team player. Again, that's very similar to the one we just read. You want to show them by being descriptive. Think about a time from previous employment or experience where you can describe a relevant success story about collaboration. And put that on your resume. Talk about the kind of teams you worked on and how you succeeded in them by collaborating with them. Next one we have here is proactive. Again, that's another one of those that we just talked about. You got to give an example. Just saying it doesn't mean anything. I'm gonna look at that and be like, they're gonna look at that and be like, okay, how do we know you're like that? Give an example. You need to show that you're able to do it. And the last one they have listed here is objective. Okay, well, what does your objective imply? If your objective is to get the job you're applying for, do you really need to spell that out on your resume? A resume is an objective. It's usually, a good way. Here's a good one to replace that with. Replace it with a career summary, and have that be a description of your background. Achievements, and what you have to offer as the employer. An exception might be if you have An exception might be if you haven't applied for a specific job beforehand, or you don't have a lot of experience that speaks to the position you'd like to achieve. Then I would say it's okay to have that. I wouldn't say it's really, it's not required. Even then, I would still kind of back off from having that listed, unless they ask you to list an objective. Then I would go ahead and proceed with that. But other than that, they don't ask for it. I really would be wary of that. It just doesn't sound good. But if you've had prior experience, even if you haven't had a whole lot, if you had some, I would list that as a career summary rather than putting objective. It just doesn't sound as clean. Well, anyway, folks, that's all the time we actually have for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening in again. I know tonight was a little dull. We didn't really have a whole lot planned out. Hopefully next time we'll have things a little more planned out and have a little more things to go over with you here. So please don't take this. I hope I haven't bored you too much to death. We'll try to get things put together a little more here for you, and we hope that you will continue to listen in. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in here for us at the Marz Talk Show. And again, as always, excuse me. As always, folks, if you want to check out some of the more work we're actually doing outside of this, if you want to check out like some of the photography work we've been doing, and all that good stuff, go to Facebook and look up Child-Like-Minded Productions. And you can actually view everything we're doing, everything that you can keep track of everything that we're doing. Then you can check out a lot of our work that we got going on. Definitely get yourself over there if you want to keep yourself up to date on all our activity. You can also follow us on Twitter at CLM Productions. So that's going to be CLMPRODS Marz, all one word, at twitter.com. And you can get a lot of information on what we got going on there. Alright, folks, once again, thank you so much for listening in tonight. We hope you'll continue to listen in, and we will see you next time here on the Marz Talk Show. You folks have yourselves a wonderful 4th of July, and be safe out there tonight.